Today I want to talk about something peculiar. One day, after reaching Act 2, a shard titled Greetings from Des Moines is found next to V's PC.
In the apartment.
Jump in the urinal and stand on your head. I'm the one that's alive. You're all dead. There's no explanation for this shard. And Johnny doesn't react to it either. It's just there, without any context. So let's take a closer look at the text because it's not randomly placed. In fact, it's a message from Philip K. Dick's novel Ubik, the same author who provided the basis for Blade Runner. In Ubik, someone attempts to contact a group trapped in a kind of limbo. However, the group believes they're in reality while the one trying to reach them is dead. Since direct communication isn't possible, the person who is actually alive sends this cryptic message through an unusual means into their half-world. In the novel, this message makes the group realize that the person they thought was dead might actually still be alive. It's a pivotal scene meant to convey this realization, so it's likely that this shard serves a similar purpose. Such a message would fit T-Bug perfectly. One could interpret it as suggesting that Jackie, V, and Deshawn are finished, and only she has made it to safety. Of course, this isn't conclusive proof that T-Bug actually sent us the message, but if you delve deeper into the novel, you'll understand the underlying idea that objects exist as universal forms independent of reality. This notion has something to do with ancient Greek philosophy, particularly Plato and Aristotle's. Do you know anyone who quotes Aristotle's?
The greatest crimes issue from a desire for excess and not from necessity.
Say what now?
Aristotle. Guess you read me then.
So what do you think now? This central message of someone presumed dead reaching out to inform others otherwise, taken from a novel where the philosophical ideas of Plato and Aristotle play a crucial role, is understood fully only when examining Ubik. And in 2077, the book is even more forgotten than it is today. Let's assume the message is from T-Bug. Why would she contact us and make sure that someone eventually knows she's still alive? That wouldn't be very smart. After all, V isn't family, but essentially just a colleague. That makes no sense. So, there's a reason for this message that certainly isn't because T-Bug doesn't want V to worry. That's definitely not the reason. Let's set that question aside for a moment. If she sent the message, then she's still around. The question is just in what form. The story allows for two possibilities. Either she's still alive as a human, or she exists as an engram after being extracted from her body. In both cases, we end up with the same question: where is she now? We can be sure Des Moines itself isn't meant. It's a small town in Iowa featured in the novel, but it would be quite silly to pinpoint someone's location so directly, even if it were a major city. You could just send a postcard instead. No, she's definitely not from Des Moines. Since the novel plays a central role, we need to look at the important places there as well. There's the moon, where everything begins. Since Phantom Liberty, we know it's a good place to escape the powerful on Earth. So is she on the moon? The question remains, though, why she would want to inform us of this. That doesn't make sense. I think we need to delve deeper into the story of Ubik. We need to find the analogy within it. In the novel, the moon is the point where everything starts. One remains in reality. The others end up in a half-world. If we apply this to our situation, we have Konpeki or Night City as the places where things diverge. The group in the novel would correspond to Jackie, Dexter, and V. Thus, T-Bug would be the only survivor, which at first glance seems true. Jackie, Dexter, and essentially V are all dead. But something's not right. V is in reality. That's a fact we can hold on. So, part of the analogy doesn't fit here, but in Ubik, it's also about the matter of reality being more than just a singular affair. After all, the group believed all along they were in the real reality, until the message slowly dawned on them that this wasn't the case. And here we come to the point. What if it's the reverse? T-Bug isn't the survivor, but T-Bug is the group, and V is the survivor, which also holds true, at least for now. Then it would be T-Bug who's in a different world, and this brings us to the events in Konpeki.
What if Soul Killer really grilled her?
She would then be a roaming engram, a so-called SPI, soul-killed pseudo-intellect. I didn't come up with this term. It's from Mike Pondsmith, the creator of the Cyberpunk universe. It's lore, and it reads, SPIs are sometimes called ghosts. They're a type of artificial intelligence that were once real people, whose consciousness was often digitized involuntarily by soul-killer programs. As a result, they're trapped in the network and exist only there. Although they were once human, SPIs are considered a subtype of AI. In terms of personality, artificial intelligence follows its own internal logic, which is often distorted and difficult to decipher. They encompass the full spectrum of personalities, from childlike and curious to those indistinguishable from ordinary humans, from completely alien to godlike, aware of the intellectual limits of Homo sapiens. These godlike AIs also view humans as ignorant. KIs have also exhibited deviant behavior akin to schizophrenia and megalomania in humans. We already know an SPI, Alt. So is T-Bug experiencing the same fate as Alt? one thing is certain, she would now be in another world, and that aligns perfectly with Ubik and our analogy. And here we have some reasons for this message. T-Bug has a new goal that has nothing to do with the goal, desires, and dreams of a living person. But then she wouldn't be interested in the moon, which isn't very intriguing for SPIs. Abandoned cities like Busan would be more suitable. We've heard of that city already.
A dead city livens up the news today. Following the catastrophic use of biological weapons in Busan during the Militech-Arasaka conflict of the early 2020s, essentially all forms of life have been wiped clean from the megacity. Millions of people, animals, and plants were eradicated in a matter of minutes. And a similar fate awaits any to this day who strays too close to the southern edge of the Korean peninsula and the waters surrounding it. Though not all in the city lie still, automated systems powered by local tidal energy continue to operate unsupervised. Netwatch has warned that without proper maintenance, any Busan-based AI could, in time, pose a considerable threat. Arasaka has washed their hands of the issue, placing full blame for the ecological and subsequent technical crisis with Militech, who dropped the bombs. NUSA President Rosalind Myers has declined to comment on the matter.
But I don't think the novel directly tells us where she is. Not through a location in the novel. No, through its title. Because Ubik derives from the Latin Ubik, meaning everywhere. But what does that mean again? Well, to understand this, you have to understand the old network, the Matrix. It was a network constructed like a parallel universe to our real reality. The distances were the same, the cities were the same, but in cyberspace. So, here again, another reality very similar to ours, but still different. This would mean T-Bug is beyond the Black Wall, out of reach of Arasaka or anyone else. But it's a dangerous place, not just for people, but also for ghosts. But at this point, we hit a wall. Nothing from Ubik gives us a hint of how things might proceed for T-Bug.
In the expansion Phantom Liberty, there were also no clues.
But was that truly the case? Not entirely. If you follow the path with Reed, you end up at the Cynosure facility. There are terminals there that receive peculiar transmission. There's also talk of different worlds, immediately bringing Ubik to mind. In total, there are 4 terminals that deliver 3 transmissions each. These aren't old records, but transmissions V receives directly. I've had all this sorted and converted into a comprehensible text. They live in a simulation of their own creation. Their world is illusory. Our decisions guide their free will. Everything they've built is imperfect. It's so easy to take control. They think they're safe. They are not. Their nervous systems are so weak, so rudimentary, so fragile, easy to break. They won't see it coming.
Are you here with me? Am I alone? So dark in here.
We hear you. Clearly, we're dealing with an AI here that sees itself as at least godlike and doesn't have much regard for us limited humans. But there's a part that doesn't fit at all. Are you here with me? Am I alone? So dark in here. This text has a completely different tone, more uncertain and fearful. Are we speaking with one or more entities? That's the question here. From the text, one might assume we're talking to a collective or someone suffering from a delusion. After all, SPIs can exhibit behavior comparable to schizophrenia and megalomania in humans. Wait a moment, are you suggesting that the AI or one of the AIs hunting us through the facility is essentially T-Bug? I think so. For one thing, an insect-like robot is chasing us. A bug, possibly a T-Bug, but seriously, why not? T-Bug wasn't a friend of ours, and indeed she might blame V for the whole situation. That wouldn't be very rational, but we're learning that these SPIs don't necessarily have to be rational. Dexter and Jackie are dead, and only V is alive. Thus, the true nature of this message at the end could also become clear. A threat. I'm still alive, and you're dead. I admit, the message could also be a cry for help. After all, it's not really clear from the transmissions whether we're talking to a schizophrenic entity or the frightened part of a completely different entity. But overall, I'd stick with the idea that everything is twisted, as in Ubik, and then it really would be a threat. Okay, we have the transmissions in Cynosure, but how can we determine that it's actually T-Bug? In the control room, we find this display. Do you recognize it? It's the symbol or logo of T-Bug. Why would it be here? For a long time, I thought the meaning of the symbol was in the past. Yet even if that's the case, why would she leave her mark at the end? I think T-Bug hacked the facility to take control, and like with other net runners, her signature, her symbol, would then be transmitted. That's what we're seeing here. T-Bug hacked the facility. In Konpeki Plaza, T-Bug hacked the netrunner. Here too, her symbol was transmitted, as we can see. It's like this endpoint you can only connect if you know the shard and the story behind it from the novel Ubik. Then it all makes strangely coherent sense. But what happened afterward? We don't know, but perhaps we'll hear more about her in the sequel. Probably not as the main character, but maybe there will be a detail or an Easter egg that reveals more. That was quite a deep rabbit hole. What do you think about all this? Write your thoughts in the comments, and until next time in Night City.